I'm a 19-year-old man. For many people, home is somewhere where they want to be after a long day full of the hustle and bustle of life. On the contrary, I've never ever had that chance. No one to welcome me back, no place to call home. I have one experience with my mother, and how I got pretty revenge on her as a kid. My mother was a really shitty person. I know that you guys'll think that I'm a motionless son, but everything has a cause. I have other four siblings, one older sister, three younger, three different dads. Older sister went to live with her father's family in a different city. My dad went to jail 2 to 3 years after I was born for a while, so I rarely saw him. He's an alcoholic if that matters. She was a single mother, but she made it work, and she worked hard. One of the bigger problems was that she took out her aggression and hatred of my father on me, as well as work stress, etc. I was abused from the age of 5 to 6 to about 16. And my younger siblings weren't no exception. Every day was hell for me. She was extremely strict, and her perspective was warped. She was also pretty big in stature and had a lot of strength. Examples of her being shitty. I've gotten beaten up badly once. Because her room was dirty, that's so fucking nonsense. She had been quite busy with her work all day. So I have to take responsibility for all the housework and take care of younger siblings. It made me exhausted. The dishes weren't washed, and I got beaten as soon as I got home. Even if there weren't dishes I left to school. If I walked too loud, I'd get my ass beat. She broke my nose for looking at her the wrong way at my 10th birthday. When she brought me a cake I was allergic to, it had peanuts. She knows I'm slightly allergic but feigned ignorance. It was more or less every day or every other day. She used her fists, elbows, extension cords, hangers, chair, canes. Whatever she could find I was getting beaten with. I couldn't ever escape to my room for long, because she would always call me every few minutes to get her things or just yell at me. She never drank or did drugs or anything, but whenever she was upset and I happened to be in front of her, she'd kick me down the stairs to make me hurry up. She even put a knife to my neck and had to be forcibly stopped by her boyfriend of the time. There was once a time she burned my Christmas presents from other people. She didn't give me anything that year, and just other shitty things. She controlled most aspects of my life. I got by with a little pretty revenge. Teeing in the Lipton iced tea she drank, rubbing her fork and spoons under my armpits before I served her dinner, ignoring her screams when she had kidney stones. I resented her, and the negative atmosphere affected who I was as a person. I started to be cold and uncaring. When I hit college, I decided to live in the dorm, believing that I could escape from my mother. Even though my college is only a few feet away from my house, I hadn't kept in touch with her. My mother said she would never pay my tuition fees, so I had to study and work hard every day to make a living and pay for education. Due to busy studying, I didn't come home for the whole 2 semesters. Towards the end of 3rd semester, also on Christmas holiday, I decided to come home, visit my younger siblings, and stay for several days. I also saved up some money from working, so I would buy some gifts for my younger siblings that day. Due to private reasons, I came home quite late, around 11 p.m., and my mother yanked the door open screaming in my face, asking why I came back and where'll I move out. I decided to ignore her and walk straight to my room because I was really tired. I know that if I opened my mouth, that day would be the day I blew up and cursed her out. I've rarely ever raised my voice at her because it never ended well. I got to my room, she ripped my door open and started yelling. I didn't say anything, just stared at her. She walked away and called the police on me, saying she thought I'd murder her and my younger siblings. I don't know where the fuck she got that idea from, as she's the one who's nearly killed me many times. Early the next morning, when my mother was still not up, I took my younger siblings to eat outside and went sightseeing. When we got back home, my mother wasn't home. I guess she was dating some other dude. Until late evening, she went home, looking delighted and full of gift bags in hand. My siblings believed those were Christmas gifts for them, but the truth is always painful. All of those gifts weren't for us, they belonged to her. A couple of days later, I had to pack my bags, preparing to return to college. Suddenly, I realized that all my money flew without wings. I panicked. That was my sweat money. I knew immediately who stole it, no one else but my mother. The reason why I certainly like that is because she has done it several times in the past. I confronted her for more than 15 minutes. She finally stopped shouting and admitted that she took all my money for paying her new boyfriend's debt. It's unbreakable. I've worked hard to just quit out of my mother as soon as possible. And look what she did to me. Too angry, I declared that I would charge her to court and she would be paying for what she's done. I packed everything into a bag and left afterwards. I didn't want to see her face anymore. Needless to say, she cursed me a lot, even challenged me to do that. I was trying so hard to not freak out, but I couldn't bear her any longer. Okay, I've spent too fucking long letting her destroy my sanity. Now is the time. There weren't a few things she didn't know. First, I knew for a fact at the current well-paying job she had was gotten on lies, as she never got her any degrees and lied about it on her resume. Second, she was definitely aware that from 13 years old, I took photos of all my bruises, marks, wounds, bloody noses, saving them to my computer and then Google Drive. On top of that, my little sister had been sending me photos via social media of the bruises she got from mother. I compiled all of those photos, videos into one folder. Then I reached out to the Children Protection Service in my city and explained that my siblings were abused, how I was abused in the past, and that I had mountains of proof. The day after, they arrived with the police, and coincidentally my mother was literally in the process of beating my young sister when they were knocking. I sent them all the evidence, and there's a legit case against my mother now. The next day, I emailed my mother's office and then called up her job to inform that she had lied about having a necessary college degree, as well as current events in her life, which sparked a background check. She was fired days after and was on blacklist. So now, my mother lost all her kids and her job. The trial took place 1 week later. There were me and all my relatives. In the dock, she bowed with her face toward the ground and was speechless. I wasn't sure if she was feeling guilty for what she did so far. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison for child abuse. Before she was jailed, there was a face-to-face meeting between us. During her 10 days in a detention center, she totally turned into a different person. She didn't show arrogance like she used to be before. She just looked miserable instead, with a gaunt, gray, and haggard face. We fell into silence. She just lied face down and couldn't look directly at me. I broke the awkward atmosphere by asking how she felt when was sued by her own child. She broke down crying, unable to speak. I was crying too. I blamed her why she gave me this terrible life, why she could treat her own kids badly. This isn't the way human being should treat one another. She still cried, kept saying sorry to me. I stood up, intending to go out. Suddenly she grabbed my hands and said that she had something secretly to tell me about. I tried to calm down, sat down and prepared to listen to her every word. She said that her mental health has been affected from the toxic relationship with my dad. She's been bad influenced, and that's the reason why she treated me badly, because I look like my dad. But more than that, she revealed that she had cancer. She just knew about it, and she had just a couple of months to live. I didn't know if she was lying or not, to be honest. I too got a bit worked up when I heard these things, but look at what she did to me. I couldn't sympathize with her. For me, beautiful memories of my mother were dead when she started to abuse me. Everyone can say that I'm cold-blooded, but I'm sure you guys would understand when you have been through it. I didn't know how to react. A little sympathy, a little pitiful, but I couldn't forgive her anymore. She made my life worse.